Good afternoon. My name is Steve Dubois. I currently reside in Huntington, 1266 South Gibson Street in Huntington, Texas, zip code 75949. My contact information will be below. However, I am actually directing this message to the Attorney General and the staff. The reason for my direct response and per video is because I'm trying to use every available means necessary to cause attention to a situation that we have in Angelina County. Angelina County Jail last year had a death of Mr. Glenn Smallwood in the Angelina County Jail while in custody. I'm also going to include a video that actually goes through my research and everything that I have and found out through my research. I will preface them here, but I will actually ask you to turn to the actual video so you will actually get the full details. I have asked my county attorney on 3 different occasions to release a video of this death. I was denied. The county attorney sent the request that I sent to the Attorney General. Mind you, on this request, he had the opportunity to make a case. He had an opportunity to go back and precedents on some cases that had been ruled on in the past. And the Attorney General's office agreed with him. The reason for the agreement is because I do not believe that they were told that the AG's office, I don't think you guys are totally aware of the situation and the ongoing contribution that this ruling has made. The video that I'm going to show you is pretty detailed, and I know that responding for the email and the messages, I get no response from the AG. The AG doesn't even want to pick up the case. They don't even want to review the case on its merits. However, the fact is that in this video that I'm going to show you, or the next video, I will prove, or I will have very valid questions onto why I believe that this video it should be released. Number 1, the statement by Mr. Nick Gardner that I have right here states that this would actually provide, the release of this video would encourage terrorism or criminal behavior. This is so unfar from the truth, because they said that it would expose certain things about the jail they didn't want to get out. However, the fact is that last week, 2 weeks ago, our sheriff came out with a full layout of the jail and the extension that they're actually going to put onto the jail. It shows you everything. Number 2. So it shows you everything. So in other words, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander, because why can't we see videos? Because your picture shows all the doors, everything. Number 2, the facts of the case do not match up. The time frame does not match up. Number 3, the investigation done by the Texas Rangers is bogus. Here's the reason why. When there is a crime scene, especially when there's a death, especially in custody, you would think that they would dot the I's and cross the T's. Here's where I have a problem with that. Because the fact is that at the time of death, which was 11/36, this individual wasn't booked in per the paperwork but 12/28. Sheriff Selman and James Hicks, Texas Ranger, said, "Oh, it's a typo. It was handwritten. How can it be a typo?" The other issue that we have is the issue of restraints being used. They court categorically denied that there were restraints that was used on Mr. Smallwell. However, the fact is that the coroner's report noted it. The bruises on his arms or legs were caused by restraints. There's a lot more that goes on in this story. And I believe, in all my heart, I believe that if he was properly taken care of when he was in custody of Angelina, if he was actually totally taken care of, then this wouldn't have happened. He didn't have to die. You would think somebody would want to look out for that. You would think that the public would be allowed to see information, to inform us, to enlighten us, to show the deficiencies. How do we correct the deficiencies? Well, how much more are we going? Where do we need to direct our money? However, this information is not being released to the public, and we have to go on hearsay. There's only two people deposed in this investigation: the warden, Sheriff Selman, and the sheriff. Sorry, sheriff, and two at the time, the acting guard, Nick Gardner, the actual warden of the prison. These two individuals both were deposed. No witnesses were deposed. The individuals who were on duty were not deposed. The trustees that they claimed that were in the area were not deposed. The crime scene was allowed to be altered. We know for a fact that the trustees were ordered or told to clean up the blood in that area. How much other evidence was tampered with to mislead the investigation, or for the investigator to come out and say it's open book? It's open. I trust what you say. It's open book, but you're taking testimony of people that weren't even there. They will offer no logbooks to tell the time and date of the roving. They don't give you nothing except for the fact is that they've answered a freedom of information request that shows me who's on duty. They won't release the medical personnel. Get to that in a second. And they won't release the actual deposition that actually Sheriff Selman actually put out. I got the affidavit from Mr. Gardner. Now, in conjunction with this investigation, it is now learned that Southern Healthcare Partners were the contract medical provider for Angelina County Jail. The individual who was working that shift that night was fired afterwards. Sometimes afterwards. The time frame we can't, because they don't want it to get out when they actually fired her. But we do know the reason that she was fired, or he was fired. She was under the influence of the job. She was under the influence. This is a medical person. This is the person who's a medical personnel who's supposed to ensure the safety and well-being of the inmates at Angelina County Jail. We owe them. These individuals have not even been convicted of a crime yet, and they're dying. And our Attorney General's office, our Office of Inspector General, they do not want to admit the problem. Supposedly, because of how they heat this that happened in the last year, there was supposed to be investigations going on each individual case to look at them and revisit them or whatever. Hasn't been done. These families do not know how their loved ones suffered in a jail, what caused this. We know it was heat exhaustion. We know it was heat related, but we don't know because the investigation waits with the Attorney General's office. And any request by any county attorney will be agreed upon by the Attorney General's office and staff just to help them sweep it under the rug. There have been other occasions of the death in Angelina County Jail. In 2022, a civil lawsuit was settled because the fact is a lady was in jail. She suffered from pneumonia. She asked 30 times, wrote written request to all the guards, we call them shits, asking to see the doctor. They said she was faking it. She faked it up until the time that they had to put her on a stretcher and rush her to the hospital because pneumonia had actually been the cause of her death, which Angelina County Jail and their systems or their currencies that are their operations they have in place and where they put these individuals, it would make pneumonia worse. There was no special area for it, and there's no special area for hospitalization or treatment of these type of injuries inside the jail. We could have saved this person's life if they had only done one thing: had the medical personnel come down and evaluate them. They didn't do it. So we look to past history. We look at Uvalde. It took 2 years to get that video. 2 years. The Attorney General is also responsible for that delay. Tarrant County, it took the public to raise hell and show their ass at the police department to get the video. And when the video was actually released and it was shown, two officers were fired immediately, and there are 3 more under investigation. But the Attorney General decided originally with the county attorney not to release the information, not release the footage. So we have a sheriff who's publicly going on with a photo showing his entire jail operation, but he can't provide a video because the fact is it might be terrorism related. The fact of the matter is that we don't have any terrorists here. I know. I'm not saying what you guys think. Like, you know what? A lot of people think, well, it won't happen here. Me, being a trained veteran, I know to ask, what if it does? I have requested information. I have requested help from the FBI, from everybody that I can actually send an email to take a look at the investigation. If you, and most of you guys are on staff or are Attorney General, you guys have been to college, went to 4 years college, no matter what you majored in, you will be able to look at this investigation and you're going to be, huh? And not merely just read a piece of paper from an attorney who's quoting cases that happened a long time ago. We're in a new world now. Deaths are happening in the jail, and we have to have the knowledge to correct it. Without this knowledge, taxpayers sit by and throw their money out of jail where people are dying. The Attorney General refuses to recognize this. So everywhere there's a camera, it's public information. It also states that in the way you want to maintain the privacy of the inmates in the booking area. There's nobody in the booking area. There's no prisoners in there. There are people waiting to be booked, but there's nobody in there. They raised the point, well, we don't want, we observe their rights. But however, the fact is that the next morning you'll wake up in the paper and you'll see the person's face. You'll see all his information. You'll see what he's arrested for. You release all that information. I think the word's pretty much out that they got arrested. And the only reason why that this situation not being corrected, because of this. Jail standards. Put in freedom of information request for them. They did the same thing. They wrote to the Attorney General. An Attorney General who has ruled failed to recognize the situation, any of his staff to investigate, brush this under the rug, because of the fact it's a small town, nobody will know what's it going to hurt. However, the fact is that this incident can be used to train individuals. It can actually be used to show wardens what they need to work on, what they need to train in order for personnel to be better. Our job, any job in government, is to do things better. We are held to that higher standard. I'm asking the Attorney General to be held accountable as well. Because I'm going to get the video. One way, civil lawsuit's already being prepared. I'm going to sue the county, and I'm suing the AG and the OIG. Because you contributed, basically tampered with evidence that should have been showed to the public. And in your ruling, I only know it's an opinion, but that's all they need in court to get it squashed. The Attorney General is responsible for not releasing or not using the power of his office as we offered him from Texas when we voted him in. He is not being held responsible. He is not acknowledging the situation. And just as we see in Uvalde, a lot of questions came up from that video. Also from the Tarrant County video. You want to go back, go to the Smith County video. All these videos were actually released because of pressure from the public. No help from the AG and no help from the OIG. So, yes, I'm not threatening, not meaning to threaten, but there will be a lawsuit filed and you will be named in it. And you will have to explain not only, but you will have to explain to the court why your decision was made on a death in a jail that you didn't properly allow a full investigation of, because you have the key piece, you have the ability to get to render the key piece of evidence, and you failed. I'll let the court decide. We have a problem in Texas. We have a problem in Texas because our inmates are dying. As stated before, we have medical personnel who are working there that are not qualified, who show up under the influence, making medical decisions. Let me give you an example. This person who was actually fired actually took his blood pressure that night and stated, well, it's in the range of somebody that's intoxicated. How does she know? She's under the, how does he or she know? It's under the influence. I don't know. I'm not a well-educated man. I had the opportunity to go to college, but I answered to a higher calling. I served in the Marine Corps and the United States Army. I have actually had to very quickly learn to spot bullshit. We know that the county and the sheriff's department are creating this issue to where they won't release, so they'll have no legal responsibility whatsoever. Open and shut case. But as the Attorney General, when it's brought to your attention, shouldn't there be some kind of investigation? I will bet all the money in my pockets against all the money in your pockets. If you see this video, I don't even know what it has on it, but based on the facts I've learned and witnesses that I've actually talked to that came in and out of that jail, the story they're telling is not right. It doesn't match the time frame. It doesn't. They're lying about his time of death. They said they didn't use restraints. The coroner admits that he noticed bruises, marks in the areas where restraints were applied. The only thing that was different is because the fact is they noticed that there was he had a big bruise on his chest. That I can understand. That was for administering CPR. But you have a man who's bleeding, who's restrained, which the coroner did say he has Well, he's intoxicated. At the time, we didn't know what it was, but anyway, the fact is he was intoxicated. He had a psychotic moment because he didn't even know who people were around him. They asked him many times, who are you talking to? He goes, oh, over there, somebody over there, whatever. So he was psychotic. You put a psychotic person in a containment and restraints, you know what? You don't tell them what you're going to get. I know this because the fact is I've had to handle prisoners just like this in Afghanistan and Iraq. In those two places where I was deployed, we never treated inmates this way. We never. The UCMJ would have been brought down on their ass because that wasn't our lane. That's the CIA. That's, you take them, they do whatever the hell they want to do, whatever, but that's government. Whereas we would never allow somebody to be treated this way, even if it was our enemy. But you are aiding and abetting a crime. You are tampering with evidence by withholding evidence and having malfeasance, because the fact is you will not order the release of this because I know that you want to know. You, at the Attorney General, you have the right to see this video. Why can't we? What do we need to be protected from? The question is, why will they not release the video? And based on my research and based on the facts that I have been able to I've gathered after much trouble, because they didn't want to release any information. I've been running around trying to get the coroner's report, trying my best to get the documentation that they will provide me. The stuff they give me, it's all plain Jane vanilla stuff. Just tell me who's on duty. Doesn't show me. They didn't show the logbook. They didn't show any of that. So I'll come to you personally. I'm not calling I'm not calling on you to bitch, whine, and moan, and complain. I'm not. But there's an argument to be made here. There's an argument to be made here, and there is an issue that goes unsolved. I don't know who all's involved. It doesn't make no difference to me. I want to see and put together myself as a taxpayer what goes on inside our jail if there's a death. I believe we have the right to know that. And for the Attorney General's office and the OIG to deny our right, once again, I've got an argument. Best way to settle that argument, it's in court. But I cannot tell you how disappointed I am in the Attorney General's office. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am in the OIG's office, because they refuse to even look at the case. The further this information goes, that they call this Texas Ranger James Hicks, and he says, well, I completed my investigation, and the grand jury didn't prosecute. Why? Because they never presented they weren't given all the information. We still do not know today if the grand jury saw this video. We still do not know today if they actually saw the investigation, because it's prepared by the district attorney. They only show the grand jury what they want to say, what they want them to see. I'm sorry. So I'm sure that you have heard many complaints about the jails. We as a county are responsible. It's not the AG's responsibility or the OIG's responsibility. It's the county residents' responsibility as taxpayers to hold them accountable. But there's a big problem when the Attorney General's office and the OIG get in the way of that process. Now, I'm not going to threaten, and I don't mean to come across that way. I'm just stating facts that I have done research on, facts that I'm still waiting for Freedom of Information requests that are months old. I emailed Southern Healthcare Partners, and I asked them, well, how many employees do you have? How many are assigned to Angelina County Jail? Never heard from them. Well, you got legal means. You can take them to court, whatever. Yeah, what, for a $25 fine? A slap on the wrist? No. It goes deeper than that. In the movie, they say, Houston, we have a problem. I'm trying to add to the problem of what has already been identified. In our jail system, we have a problem. It's documented per the videos that we can get. You have no legal basis because after 2 years, all these videos are being released. Why can't we follow precedents? HR 36 comes up because the fact is, the governor signed it too damn late. It went effect on September the 1st. They're hiding behind HR 36. I don't care. The previous law states if there is a jail death, you have to do a full investigation. And it has to be public information, especially when there's a death. Especially whenever the coroner even states it was not an accidental overdose. It's not heart. No, it was an accident. So I want to know, what was the accident? How did the accident happen? And the only way we'll know is right to that video. This is the only way that citizens can actually monitor their own elected officials and the people we put in office and maintain some control on how we're being treated inside jail and outside jail. I'll say this one more time. Attorney General is supposed to be there to help the people. So is the Office of Inspector General. In these cases, you're getting in the way. You're allowing them by your opinions. I don't think that that's what your office is intended to do. I don't think that that's your office has the power to do. And the only option that we have is to get the federal government involved. And I'm proceeding in that area as we speak. So I went too long. I have an attached video that I will send you. It breaks it down like a shotgun. And if you watch this video and compare the facts to what you actually, if you do an investigation, don't just look at it and go, okay. You will find you're going to have further questions, because every time I read this documentation and go over my research, I have further questions. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it is my request that the Attorney General's office contact the commissioners of Angelina County, advise them to order the sheriff to release the video to the public. It is my second request that the county commissioners be held accountable as well, because they are the ones who actually hired the sheriff, who's responsible for the jail. I probably won't be heard on this. I'm a believer that, when citizens, this is what I feel, that citizens can come to their leaders and ask questions that are legitimate and get answers to. I have learned now that this is different. So I hope a member of the staff watches both these videos. I hope members of the staff will learn when they progress through the line that, this is not the way I want to do so whenever I get to higher office. One of you guys may be Attorney General, for God's sakes. But in the Attorney General's office, we've got to insist that you staff members be be treated with respect, and also have the ability to speak up when you see something's wrong. And it appears to me we don't have that. So I'll end this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening and giving me 30 minutes of your time. I put this on video for one reason, because the fact is you can be doing it. You can listen to the video while you're doing your work at your desk to make it convenient for you, so you don't have to read it on drawn out paper. I have one, but I won't. I'll suffice in sending you this video. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I look forward, or I pray, for your relief in this matter, because a death is important to us. It may not be on your level, but a death in a county affects all of us. It is in our public interest. Is it in our public interest to know how this individual died? What happened? Thank you so much for your time. I'm Steve DuBose. I'm out.